also the one thing that swung it to the majority of the judges was that people could drink your drink all day long at a party. And that was the thing, like you could just have 16 of them because they were so light and refreshing. And so that's why we ultimately... and that's why ultimately we went for that one.
Welcome to the Lush Life podcast. I'm your drinking companion, Susan Schwartz, and I bring you the how-to guide for living life one cocktail at a time. Thanks to my mother's love of martinis, the first words I spoke were shaken, not stirred, and I've been obsessed by cocktails ever since. Together, we'll learn from bartenders, brand ambassadors, distillers, and others why certain drinks are popular in certain cultures, how to make the perfect old-fashioned, when to shake and when to stir, and so much more. Hear that sound? It's time to cozy up to the bar and let the fun begin. Have you ever tried a Peter Spanton drink? If not, you're missing out on some of the boldest flavored mixers you can find. Ask for them by name and number. My favorite at the moment is the Salted Paloma. That's lucky number 13. Refreshing and so delightful on these hot summer days. This week, I was invited to the inaugural Peter Spanton Cocktail Competition, being held at the Joe Bin Law Cocktail Bar in Aldgate, London. Before anyone picked up a shaker, William Stern, the commercial director of Peter Spanton, sat down with me to explain why and how they conceived the competition in the first place.
We were sitting around trying to work out how to engage our audience with our drinks, which are different to everybody else's drinks. The flavour profile is what we call beyond ordinary, and we wanted to find a format to allow people to express that beyond ordinariness or that difference, and there was no point reinventing the wheel, as it were, so we took the format of a cocktail competition, but we, as a soft option, as the mixer, it's quite unusual to do that. It's been really interesting for us because what we wanted to do was really challenge the contestants to use that notion of beyond ordinary, to also use the theme of the forest, because we have a hare as our brand mascot, and hares are crazy magical creatures, and we were if you think about Donnie Darko or Alice in Wonderland, or the hare that makes the elixir of life in Chinese culture, and we really wanted to express that difference between us and other drinks and therefore other competitions. And it's been a real challenge actually to break down those barriers with the competitors in the competition. The first prize of this competition is to go to the Moscow Bar Show in St. Petersburg, which is in September, and it really is a great opportunity for us to show off our brand. And the theme there actually is mythology, so it works quite well with our forest theme. In the myths and everything like that, but we're really excited about going to the Moscow Bar Show and taking our team there and working with our partner at the Moscow Bar Show, who are called Simple, and really putting on a great show. So if any of you are thinking about going there, please do come and say hello to us at the Moscow Bar Show in St. Petersburg.
4 groups of 2 bartenders prepared and presented one cocktail to the 3 judges, Veronika Karola, Jarek Zawadzki and William, and they were off. I snagged them for a chat after their presentation to discover what inspired them and how they chose which Peter Spanton drink to use in their cocktail. First up were Michele Reina and Georgia Billing with their Under Milkwood cocktail.
I'm Georgia Billing and I work at Sexy Fish. I'm the head bartender there.
And I'm Michele Reina. I'm a European brand ambassador for Lux Go. So I represented directly 2 distilleries in Kentucky. One is the Limestone Branch Distillery, and which is one of the smallest distilleries in the world. It's 1 barrel production. And the new Lux Row Distillery, which we just opened in Bardstown.
Well, why don't you tell me about the inspiration for the cocktail you made for the competition?
Okay, so when we were reading about the brief for the Spanton final, it was all about the woodlands and something particularly extraordinary, and I think it's very much character or personality of the brand to do something a little bit weird. Michele had this idea to use a tiger milk horchata in the drink and to actually clarify it, so playing with the protein in the tiger milk liqueur, mixing it with the alcohol, and so to make it curdle and then to clarify it. And when we were talking about milk and woodlands, I came up with, got me thinking about Under Milk Wood by Dylan Thomas, which has actually become synonymous for someone in a bit of a dreamlike state, as the play is all about people's dreams and involves, quite conveniently, a forest.
The ingredient that we wanted to use as well, of course, Rebel Yell is quite important to mention that we use the small batch reserve, which they stopped the production in America, is overproof, let's say 45.3% alcohol, which was great for us once we fat wash it with the tiger milk to keep the ABV. So once we mix it with a full bottle of soft drink, which is 200 ml, you will still feel that kick from the bourbon. Another important thing is then the inspiration coming from the traditional English milk punch, which is this way to clarify your punch using the weight of the milk. Now, when you do that, most of the time nowadays, more and more easy to find people intolerant to lactose or nuts free. So we wanted to use something that everyone could drink and enjoy. That's why the horchata tiger milk, and plus the horchata is always includes some different herb and spice, which are typical from Valencia.
So it was in terms of, we were thinking about whiskey and ginger being such a classic combination, so it was teaming perfectly with the Peter Spanton No. 3 ginger ale. And then we were thinking about flavour matching as well with other plants from the woodlands and from the forest. So we were using tonka bean, date. There's a little bit of bark in there, like the bitter, and there's a homemade bitter that we've made, and the bitter agent is actually coming from a bark. And then we've put a dust on the outside of the drink, which is coming from the tiger nuts themselves, dusted down with a bit of bee pollen, and then we garnished it with a sycamore leaf, which is a very important tree for bee pollination and the bee population, which is also a tree that's growing quite widely even in the city of London, and as well as in woodlands and forests.
So the bitter that we use is actually coming from a company that me and Giorgio opened 2 years ago, and it was the Reina Lab. The tonka bean and date bitter was a tailor-made bitter for a friend of us, Sophia.
Mentioned her. Sophia Irwin, yeah. Maybe she's listening.
And
we're a big fan of her.
Yeah, we are. And she came out with this idea to create tonka bean and date with different spice. There was a bit of pimento drum there. And we've been working together to tailor-make this bitter, especially for her and for her bar. And we love it so much that we actually kept some of the batch and we use it today. And I believe it's so important for us to mention that, because we start as all the bartenders around experimenting in our bar, or in our little table, and then eventually we have so many different flavors and different profile of bitter, liqueur, vermouth and amari. Then we decided to open our own business, and we eventually needed to do a little step back, because we had too much demand. We actually have so many people asking for our bitter, and there was only the two of us, and it was a good, crazy way to put doorman a company. But sometimes you need to do a step back to do a step forward.
That's right. Now, while I was watching you make this, you said something about the tonka beans, where you have to soak them because they're quite dry.
Oh, it was the tiger nut. So it's
the tiger nut, sorry.
It's a type of a sedge, so it's. We were just going to say a final point about the garnish just now. So it's not. It's called a nut, but it's not part of the nut family. It's more of a root, which is why it actually doesn't have the allergen that people suffer from when they have a nut allergy. So what Michele did was to soak that in the Peter Spanton chocolate and mint tonic. So when you soak the nut, it actually crisps up a little bit. So when you just have them on their own, they're a little bit chewy, they're a little bit tough to handle, a bit like an unpopped popcorn kernel. So when you soak them in the soda, They took on the flavour of the tonic, so they came out all chocolate and minty, which was matching with the ginger and the vanilla and the spice in the drink as well. They make this really nice crispy sensation, a bit like a toasted desiccated coconut. But yeah, it's like a really nice match. We thought hopefully the judges will think as well. Fingers crossed.
It was actually a lucky strike because I wanted to infuse these, these tiger nuts with the Spartan soda, and I didn't know the result. To consider that you kind of need to rehydrate those nuts. They're actually not nuts, with water overnight, and most of the time they actually are a bit.
Doughy,
yeah, a bit like almondy, and so with the soda water, it just became that kind of crispy sensation, which is quite beautiful actually, and the sensation in your mouth is a bit unusual, and especially when you smell it, you got the Peter Spanton with this kind of mint and chocolate flavor, and of course then the nuts then release this almondy and coconut, which is just match beautiful with our drink.
Well, good luck, but you had me at bourbon, so I know I'm going to like it.
We'll do a shot now when the microphone's not rolling.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sure Dylan Thomas would have included this cocktail in his play after one sip. Next were Tomas Chisti and Francesco Mcara with their number 5, Alive.
So my name is Francesco Mcara. I'm from Italy, in a little town around to Naples, and I'm working restaurant hours in South Kensington as a head bartender. And today I'm here with my best friend Tomas to enjoy this beautiful competition.
And you are?
I'm Tomas Chisti. I'm coming from Czech Republic, originally from Prague, and I'm really happy to be here with Francesco and to celebrate this amazing beverage called Peter Spanton, which is absolutely extraordinary, and it's just getting soft drink somewhere on another level.
So what was your inspiration for your cocktail creation today?
So the inspiration behind my cocktail was my family, because I even feel the Peter Spanton people like my family. They are really close friends, and they always helping me to work behind the bar, and they making my life like really easy.
So when you got the brief about the woodlands forest, how did that inspire the cocktail that you created for today?
It was actually really easy because my country house is just next to the forest, so I just built both cocktails like in the heats and also here on the finals with a story from my childhood.
And can you tell me what that story is?
Yeah, so in the heats there was the trips with my father when we were picking the mushrooms in the early morning. It was like really cold mornings and the steam was coming out of the ground, and it was such a magical moment. In that time I used the chocolate tonic, and it reflects really well that moment. And for a final, I actually use the homecoming from the forest when I saw my mother just on the garden picking the gooseberries and getting ready to bake some delicious gooseberry tart. So it has some moment, and it's actually connected really well together.
So tell me about the cocktail recipe that you came up with.
I wanted to make it like really low alcohol, so I use really aromatic lemongrass gin, which we actually made in the Gin Institute on Portobello Road, which is really aromatic and
it's spicy.
And it's
spicy.
A bit spicy, and it just goes really well with the tonic. It just elevates the flavors of the tonic on its own.
And which tonic did you use?
I used the number 5, the lemongrass tonic.
Uh-huh. And so you mix the lemongrass with the gooseberries?
Yeah. So because I was coming from the forest, I needed some forest woodland element. So I used the pines. I used the number 5 lemongrass tonic as a base for a syrup. I add some sugar and the pine needles. I cook it for a bit, and it comes out like a really delicious and aromatic syrup.
But when you presented it, I know we don't have it here, but you had some kind of audio. So how did you pick that?
Of course, because like we are in the middle of the city, and in my opinion, the customer should use all senses to enjoy the product, the cocktail. So I wanted to use the smell of the gooseberry and of the pines which were coming from the back, which you see there. Plus, I wanted to listen even the forest. So that's why I use like a background of the forest.
Cool. Well, it was amazing. So good luck, guys.
Thank you very much.
All
Thank
right.
you.
They even had a piece of gooseberry tart for us all to sample. The third set of finalists was Michal Gobza and Dario Arantz with their Paradise of Silence.
So, I'm Michal Gobza. I'm working at Oblix at the Shard.
I'm Dario Arantz. I'm working with him, with Michal, in Oblix at the Shard.
So tell me a little bit about your inspiration for the cocktail you created today.
So, the main inspiration comes from the Woodlands, like a theme of this competition. So, was inspired by the silent, or Paradise of Silence was the name of our cocktails. So the inspiration came from like going to the woodlands to read some energy, to clean our minds. So I think that's the main point.
Yeah, I think the woodlands are this place where you can relax your brain, and we got this image of this picture of the woodlands. From like I said before, we come from the apes, like I don't know if 60 million years ago, not 4 million years ago, but we are still having in our NDA this kind of nature. We grow up in this nature, and now we are in this another kind of jungle, and we still need to relax and to have a drink in woodlands in London, no?
Yeah, because especially in London there is so many parks and a lot of woodlands, so everything is close to us. So we can go a few stops by tube, and we can enjoy the silence, we can enjoy the grass, we can enjoy the trees, all the sounds when we're walking on the grass. So yeah, everything is very important for us.
So how do you take that and put it into a cocktail?
I was thinking to create simple cordial, and basically this cordial was based on the cardamom tonic, and plus using the marigold, plus using the juniper berries, using edible flowers, everything what is close to us. And basically what we need to add after was just a little bit of sugar and boil it, and the cordial was ready.
So which Peter Spanton product did you start with?
Yeah, we start with the cardamom.
So the cardamom tonic, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, caramel is still sour, still bitter, still spicy, and it's one of the main parts of our drinks culture, like gin tonics, or in a lot of gins or a lot of drinks flavors, it's cardamom, and we got this cardamom inside us, so we wanted to put out of us in this drink.
And so how did you think of what the next step was? So you started with the cardamom tonic, then what alcohol did you guys use?
We decided to use a gin, especially there's one brand which is called Silent Pool. It's a gin which is made from the place which is so quiet and full of herbs around. So that was the reason just to use it, because the market is full of the gins, many flavors, many brands. It's more than 800, I think now. But we was trying to work with a Silent Pool, and it works very good.
So the Silent Pool, the cardamom tonic, and then what else?
And in the brand, the Silent Pool is still the silence inside. It's because there is a small pool where they got the water for the gin.
Is that why, and hopefully we'll have a picture of your serve. You've got the idea for the little wooden bowl and one of those really sexy ice cubes that's big?
Yeah. Just to cool it down, or just to keep the temperature low as possible. But basically, it's gonna imagine the small lake in the middle of the forest. Because sometimes when I was with my friends, we went to the forest for swimming in this kind of pools or lakes. It was super amazing.
I only wish that every leg tasted as good as your drink.
Yes, that's true.
So good luck, guys. Thank you for sitting down with me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
For inviting.
Last but certainly not least were Claudio Brian Idam and Victor Manuel with their candy cocktail Alice.
Hi there, I'm Claudio Ucolino.
I am Victor Landeta.
And we're here at the Spanton Cocktail Competition, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
So tell me about your drink.
Okay, the drink itself was born for the needing of having like something that was gonna give like a better accent on the Peter Spanton tonic water. And they're not doing just tonic water, but they got different flavors of that. We have choose the number 5, which is the lemongrass, and the reason why we choose so is because of the freshness, the carbonization, and the different kinds of botanicals that are inside this tonic water. And the cocktail has born because we really wanted to give something fresh without taking off the possibility to people that didn't want to have alcohol but still to enjoy their experience with drink. So we chose to have a vegetable mix juice, which is being done by celery, cucumber and gooseberries. They are very awesome for the brain, for the blood pressure, and for your health in general. And then cucumber and celery, we know what they do to us, and we mix them together. The same the ratio is going to be 1 of the juice to 2 of the tonic, because we really want to have that thing of the canning that is hitting us but still having the freshness of the juice. And then, because we really wanted to have a kind of more than an aperitif, we wanted to give something refreshing for the seaside, for very sunny, hot, warm day that you really want to just escape the heart of the city, and you can have this one in your bar, in the terrace, maybe having some shisha, or just enjoying this on the seaside, and having a little bit of top up and just measuring what's going to be your alcoholic ports. So for this one, we even developed a different kind of ingredient, which has been a non-made vermouth. This homemade vermouth is being done with a base of Shiraz. There is a sour wine with the aftertaste of berries, and then we add some absinthe, Bentiana, which is an aperitif liqueur, and then we add some hazelnut liqueur coming from Poland, and dessert mainly. So another thing that is part of our cocktail is that we didn't want to use glassware. We really care about what is the environment, so we wanted to do our own glass, and we didn't use any sugar inside because our glassware being the sugar. So we melted candies, which is the added let's say the kick on top of our drink, and our glass will be melted candy, in a bowl shape, and it's served alongside with the fruit that is gonna be simmer inside the main pitcher of the cocktail. So you can have the non-alcoholic one, and anytime you can add some more of the alcoholic just for a little kick more. And I personally like both. So it will be a good recover for a fantastic night, or it can be a good start for an awesome night for the day you are in.
So you made this glass out of candy. How did you do that?
You got to go to the shop, buy candies, put them inside. No, I'm serious. This was the crazy idea. But going to the shop, buying candies, going home, and put them in the pan, and listen to your girlfriend say you're gonna burn another one, and then when you drop in on top of your balloon, then she was what? Because
did you pop a billion balloons?
I popped a couple of balloons, but we end up the problem with that was the temperature, because when you're melting candies, it can go a very high temperature up to 120 or 25 degrees, but then it burns. So the bet and the challenge was to keep them within 85 degrees, so to don't pop the balloon when you
so it has to be
top.
Hot enough that it's still liquid, but not hot enough that you pop the balloon.
Has to be thick, more than liquid. Has to be the consistency that is kind of thicky. There is not a liquid, but it's not solid, but it's not very liquid. You just you're going through this, like if actually somebody has checked my Instagram stories, we posted some of them of the experiments meanwhile we were doing it.
What's your Instagram handle?
My Instagram is Drink and Taste, very easy to remember. And well, more or less this is all. We wanted to give something that was easy to reproduce even home. So what you need is just your veggies, your blender, like a strainer, ice, tonic and wine. That's mainly what it is. You prepare this one night before, it's gonna taste amazing. You do it on the spot, everybody would be like just shocked. So I hope that the judges and the public has enjoyed that as much as we enjoyed to make it.
Cool. Great. Good luck.
After all were done, the judges disappeared to deliberate. It was a tight race, and sadly only one could be the winner.
This team, which we think that they took the concept of Peter Spanton as having the dual use. That this was the thing that they managed to do, and they really took hold of how our brand can be alcoholic and non-alcoholic, and also their presentation. Because Claudio is so charming, we would like to give you in fourth place. Thank you very much, Claudio and Victor. And third on the list, see, I didn't say that. Third on the list, these two people, I think they completely love each other, and that kind of totally came across. And not only did they produce a delicious drink, but their sort of teamwork and the way that they were with each other was unbelievably charming. So that goes to Michael and Dario. Thank you very much. And then it gets difficult, even more difficult, I have to say. So in the second place, the storytelling was amazing, I thought, and the creativity in terms of the processes to get to the final drink was amazing, and the teamwork was really, really good. Michaela and Georgia, thank you very much. I don't know who's won, but can I just say something, right? This was struck us. Yeah. Francesca only joined Tomas on this 3 days ago or something like that. Yeah, you were like really stuck in the, and I think that the teamwork that you did was absolutely fantastic. You had a really good story. Sorry, yes, you did have a good story, but and there was great technique and behind the bar and all of that. But also the one thing that swung it for the majority of the judges was that people could drink your drink all day long at a party, and that was the thing. Like you could just have 16 of them because they were so light and refreshing, and so that's why we ultimately low alcohol. And that's why ultimately we went for that one. So.
Thanks so much to everyone at Peter Spanton Drinks. It was a gorgeous morning filled with deliciously creative cocktails to sample, overlooking an amazing view of London. Now let's head to the winning cocktail of the week. For this week's cocktail of the week, we give you the number 5 Alive, created by the winners Tomas and Francesco. I really don't know if it's possible to recreate this, but you can always give it a try. Nevertheless, here are the ingredients. 35 milliliters of Portobello Ginstitute lemongrass gin invented by Tomas himself. Not so easy to make, but try your best. 10 ml of number 5 tonic-based pine syrup. 40 ml of clarified gooseberry juice. Then top up with Peter Spanton number 5 lemongrass tonic. Build it all in a slim Collins glass with half the glass filled with frozen gooseberries and half filled with ice. Frozen gooseberries chill the drink while also adding flavor. As for the gin, Tomas built the gin at the Portobello Road Ginstitute using these botanicals: 40% juniper berry, 10% coriander seed, 3% angelica root, 3% orris root, 6% lemongrass, 3% lemon peel, 3% wormwood, 2% pink peppercorns, and 1% cardamom pods. For his number 5 pine syrup, he mixed 3 parts number 5 tonic to 2 parts sugar and added Douglas pine fir and let it sit. And last but not least, for his clarified gooseberry juice, he juiced English gooseberries and then microfiltered the juice. As William said, you could drink 16 of these and be ready for another. I would just cozy up to Tomas at 12 Hay Hill and see if he'll make me one. More of the Peter Spanton recipes will be coming soon, but as you know, you'll find this recipe and all the cocktails of the week on alushlifemanual.com, where you'll also find almost all the ingredients in our shop. Don't forget to ask for your favorite Peter Spanton mixer the next time you sidle up to the bar. As I said before, my favorite at the moment has to be the Salted Paloma, a mixer made for tequila and mezcal. Next time, we meet the show jumper who took a chance and created her own ready-to-drink cocktail. You'll see why a rose is not just a rose. Until next time, bottoms up. Thanks for listening to the Lush Life podcast, the sister of A Lush Life Manual. For more information and links to everything you heard, plus a bit more, please visit alushlifemanual.com. Always remember the wise words of Oscar Wilde. All things in moderation, including moderation. And always drink responsibly. Okay, I said that last part. Theme music is by Steven Shapiro and used with permission. Lush Life is produced by Evo Terra, and I'm your hostess, Susan Schwartz. I'll see you at the bar.